few days ago, I put up pictures of Jazzy Jeff's studio, the first one he had in Delaware, and then I had referred to that there was a flood at his studio, and so I found the pictures of the flood damage, and the flood it's not like a Florida flood. It's like it caused damage on the floor only. So I figured I'd go through the pictures you guys can see, and it gives you a little more understanding of what's involved in putting a studio together. So, like the first picture, you'll see it's the floor, this concrete floor, and you can see the cable management was put in there. So a troughing kind of system, so we could get the cables from the front of the room to the back of the room. And then the next picture, you can see where the floor for that workstation, and you can see the troughing going underneath it, so the cabling can go through there and up through the floor. So that's how what was going on there. And this third picture, you can see where the floor, it was all wet and it had to be all cut out. But like the big console and most of the stuff, they put plastic over everything. And then the fourth picture here, that is the remote control for the MTR 90. So it was in fine shape, but you could see they took the flooring out. There's a Quested 15-inch subwoofer right next to the remote. And then, there's a ProAct speaker that got damaged. And there's an Atom subwoofer he has there. And this was right behind the console in the front of the room. So he had a rack there that he had his EQs and his amplifiers in. And you can see that green thing. And this is what they usually do when you get some kind of moisture damage. They put these big fans in, and all they do is circulate the air in the room just to get everything dried out. And it works. It works well. Here's another shot of that rack in the front of the room. We had some amplifiers, and then they had the EQs, and you can see that fan again. And then there's a 15-inch Quested subwoofer, couple Quested amplifiers. I don't know if those were the AP 700 or 800s. The difference is the 700s had a thermostat in them, and the 800s were no thermostat. I think he had those wired in mono to run the big Quested monitors, but in this studio he only had the tannoys. So he had the big double 15 tannoys, but he had the Quested amps. Later on, he put the four 10 Quested monitors in. Oh, there's just some outboard. Guess that was for the cable TV. Another rack for the cable TV. Just cables in the back. Oh, there's one of his microphones. There's a U87 and some of his outboard gear and some of the plastic covering things up. There's the outboard gear. Everybody knows what that stuff is. The other outboard gear, some CD duplicators. So this was in 2000, around there. There's the Neve console. I don't know whatever happened to that console because it didn't make it to his other Delaware house where he's at now. So it may be in storage. He may have sold it. I don't know. There's his O2R. There's the Neve console. His patch bay. The other, but you can see all the dust that's all over everything. And that can cause big problems. There's some more, that dust all over everything. You can see the floor, everything's been ripped out. As Dyne Audio near field monitors he had. And those little figures on his console. That's the same Quested subwoofer. Same rack. Same things. Oh, there's the big tannoys, double 15s he had in his wall, but we got rid of those and put 410s in the Questeds. There's his MTR 90. It's wrapped in plastic. There is rack that was below his workstation, and some stuff on top of his workstation. And his workstation again. I like that it has a sticker that says demo unit on his keyboard. More of the workstation stuff. Another pair of Dyna Audios. Yeah, the workstation. Oh, those the Drobos. Those are for backup systems. You can put a bunch of hard drives in there and it'll back up across all the hard drives. And if one drive goes down, it'll tell you. So you can pull the drive out that's failing and put a new drive in there. Now, he was using them and he seemed like he had a good experience. I remember talking to Dr. Luke's assistant, and he was so mad at those things because they were failing on him in a really bad way. So I don't know if they're good or bad, but that's what they're supposed to do. Okay, that's good. Next picture. Oh, the battery backup. If you're looking at a battery backup system, you should look at those Bluetti things. They're pretty interesting. I have them here in my house and in the office. And you can put a solar panel so it'll charge up the batteries as well as plug it in the wall so it acts as a UPS, and they're not super expensive. And then you can get bigger ones to run your whole house if you're interested. It's a Bluetti is the company, but he had a APC. There's his Power Mac, Yorkville speaker. Okay. Some of his DJ stuff, but all that dust all over everything. Yeah, and seeing that dust gets in all the switches and that, and sometimes you just can't get it cleaned up. And he's using all his glyph drives. That was back in the day. A lot of glyph drives were being sold. The control surface. And some more DJ gear. There's this S950. Some MIDI, outboard MIDI gear. Just a monitor right above the console. There's that Pultec light switch that he takes around with him everywhere. There's some of his records. But you can see the floor. Some of it's okay. Some of it had to be ripped out. And that's the live room. And if you saw the pictures of the other, there's a lot of stuff was taken out of that room. Oh, that's not good. His C800G microphone up there with the dust around it. That's just not a good thing. But the insurance probably covered it because it's not going to sound the same. And maybe they can clean it up. That's the room outside of his studio. He had the pool table and some of his musical instruments, and the game machine. There's a little bar, a little refrigerator in the wall. This is outside of the studio. Yeah, there's some speakers outside the studio, and a couple television sets outside the studio. So that's pretty much it. But I just thought you guys may be interested in seeing what damage was done. I mean, this house, he sold it. Everything was all taken care of and all cleaned up. And he moved to the new place. The new place, it's a separate building for his studio from the house. So it's a lot bigger. So there you go.